Hey guys, time to continue my engine assembly. I had to postpone this assembly phase for a few months due to other stuff which unexpectedly popped up lately. In this episode I will do some more cleaning, assemble the timing system, encounter some interesting moments, and advance in my assembly process. Let's get into it. I've commenced stripping of the covers and rest of the stuff which is going to be sent to the aquablasting. You probably know the 105-degree electric thermostat story of these engines, right? I'm going to modify the thermostat to a cooler version to prolong the engine's life. There are two options for this. Either to install an 88-degree thermostat from a European 740 diesel, these are plug and play. Or buy an 85-degree thermostat from 840i Gulf version and combine it with the E38 thermostat housing. I've decided to go with the second option. Disassemble the whole thing. This is the heating element which controls the thermostat. I will send the housing for aquablasting as well. Install the engine hooks. They are attached to the engine from the factory. BMW probably knew that one day you are going to take out the engine, so left them with the engine. Time to prepare the crankshaft. Remove slightly rusty stains using WD-40 and P2000 sandpaper. To mount the new sprocket, we must heat it up, but not more than 150 degrees Celsius. I will use a 36mm socket to push it in. Went in like butter. Decided to knock few times just in case. Time to install the oil pump chain. I've realized that I need to remove the pump sprocket again to be able to mount the chain. Shit. Okay, here we go again. A bit of a thread locker. Screwdriver stuck. We'll try holding the crankshaft. Time to adjust the chain deflection. Here is how it should be as per manual. I will use the right chain side for this. $10mm as required. Time to install the rear covers. For this I need to remove the engine from the stand. Clean the surfaces. Firstly, a new pressure valve. Now is the liquid sealant. New gasket. Aqua blasted cover with new bolts. New rear seal. I will combine two sealants, RTV on the lower joint and the liquid sealer on the main surface. I will temporarily mount the flywheel since it will be required during the timing procedure. Meanwhile, all of the external stuff was aqua blasted. Cover was grinded by the timing chain. I will mount the front cover to find the proper camshaft installation position of the pistons. Clean the hub with my sandblaster. Now mount the damper and rotate it anti-clockwise until the mark on the cover will meet the 45° before TDC mark on the damper. Two same screwdrivers are just for the indication. They should be at the same level in the end. This is how it looks with a stripped engine. All of the pistons are slightly lowered. This is a special piston position for the head and camshaft installation. Okay, let's continue. Time to install the bucket tappets. I've decided to go with the brand new ones. The reason for this is that the old ones look a bit worn and doesn't hold the oil like they should. Maybe some of them already failed. New lifters look a bit different, including oil entry port. By the way, the new ones come filled with oil. Oil the wells and install the lifters. All went in smoothly, except the last one. Looks like the well surface is slightly damaged. We'll try polishing the surface with the P2000 sandpaper. Still not perfect. That's more like it. We'll leave it as it is. Time for installing the camshafts. I found a new cleaning solution. Works like a charm. Orange grime just melts when you apply it. Insert intake camshaft, it is marked with letter E. Inlet cams on cylinder 8 should be facing upwards. Now the exhaust camshaft, it is marked with letter A. Exhaust cams on cylinder 6 should face upwards. Install the bearing caps. Clean my in the ultrasonic bath. Do not mix them up between the left and the right head. Install the caps. They are marked as well from A1 to A5 and from E1 to E5. Tighten down bearing caps in half-turn increments uniformly from inside to outside. Check that all caps would be flush with the surface. Torque them down. Time to unpack my timing tool set. I've bought it 8 years ago. Rotate the cams until cam letters will face upwards. Install the camshaft fix tool. Now the same job on the right side. Lifters went in smoothly. Exhaust cams on cylinder 2 should face upwards. Inlet cams on cylinder 1 should face upwards. That's done. All camshafts are in TDC position. Now I wanted to check how much the valves are sticking out of their seats. As you remember, the new lifters are fitted with oil from the factory. They are sticking out by around 1 mm. Let's rotate the crankshaft clockwise by 45 degrees to set it to TDC. Piston in cylinder 1 is in the top dead center, like in this clip. Let's check now whether the piston meets the valves on cylinder 1. Looks good. I've asked Gemini AI whether that valve open state will affect compression or not. It told me that with 1 mm it should be okay. The lifters will drain excessive oil from themselves during the first engine running minutes. Alrighty then, thank you. Install the crankshaft fixing pin. For that purpose I will temporarily drop in the oil pan. It went in with attention, since I didn't install the gasket yet. Replace the camshaft rings. I've compared the thickness of new and old. The wear was around 0.05 mm. Carefully install and lock them. Lock should be facing upwards. New gasket and non-return valve. Gasket should sit behind the lip on top. Oil the adapter and gently install it. I've decided not to replace them since these are upgraded versions. The ring contact area didn't have a lip, just a slight polished surface. As per manual, the long bolt with a washer has to be replaced. Guess the price, 50 euros. I will just replace the copper washer and that's it. Now the small chain tensioner story. Original tensioners are made by INA. Decided to go with the INA ones. Fortunately, I couldn't find a set. Then I've noticed that the Fabi tensioners have grinded spots on them according to the pictures on their website. So I thought that they could just resell the INA tensioners and grind the INA logos. Decided to take the risk and buy them. But these were looking like a cheap Chinese eBay ones. I had the new original plastic guides, so tried to mount them on the Fabi. They didn't hold properly. Then mounted them on the original tensioner, and it was more tight, an exact fit. Fabi ones are lighter by 3 grams as well. So I've decided to dump the Fabi, clean the original ones and use the new plastic guides. Firstly, use the new spray. And then the ultrasonic buff and petrol. Old plastic snaps like so. New O-ring. Lock it with a pin from the toolset. Now copy paste on the other side. Done. I've decided to send my VANOS to Holland for rebuild. You could do it yourself, but the base and press tool and the gasket set will cost you slightly less, so I decided not to bother with doing it myself. Before sanding, I did clean them using the petrol and ultrasonic buff. Applied oil for preservation. Bolts were cleaned in the ultrasonic bath as well as using petrol and kerosene. After a few weeks, VANOS came back. Just look at the packaging. Never seen anything like this. Great service. Want to save a few pennies? Buy those chains from Swag. They are the same as the original ones. Mount the whole thing. The position of the elongated holes on the exhaust sprocket is not essential. Insert screws, but do not tighten them down. Left thread here. Do the same on the other bank. I've bought an IVIS tensioner kit. IVIS comes as original on some of BMW models. Let's test it out. Decided to use the original gasket. It was a bit softer. We'll use the original throttle ring as well. The hole looks smaller sized than on the IVIS kit. Fit the chain starting from the rail. Then left VANOS. Then crankshaft. And then the right sprocket. Don't worry about the chain position. The chain will tighten by itself since the VANOS sprockets are moving freely at this point. Well, that's a milestone. Time to mount the covers, etc. I watched all of the aqua blasted stuff from the media residue. The bottom timing chain cover will go in first, preparing the surface. New dowel sleeves. New gaskets. Few thread holes had some debris inside. Applied some sealant at the edges. More sealant. New front seal. New Jesus bolt. I will torque it down in the next episode. Time for the oil pan. The E38 pan gasket is paper. E53 gasket was metal. We'll use the liquid sealant as well here. Had few more dirty thread swells. Both rear surfaces of the oil pan and engine block must be perfectly aligned. Now the pin goes in quite smoothly. Time to do the VANOS system. Fit this tool and screw in the adjustment screw, but do not tighten it yet. At this point you need to use the multimeter with the E38 VANOS units, but in my case this is the P46 VANOS. They do not require such procedure as per manual. Mount this tool on the VANOS and rotate it anti-clockwise with the 40 Nm force to remove the oil cushion inside. Firstly, let's do the bank 5/8. Tighten the screw of inlet camshaft to an initial torque of 15 Nm and then slacken off again by 1/4 turn. Now tighten the screw of the exhaust camshaft to an initial torque of 50 Nm and then slacken off again by 1/4 turn. Do the same on the other bank. Pretension of the rail to 0.7 Nm. Don't have such tools, unfortunately. We'll try to guess by hand when some resistance will appear. Turn the VANOS anti-clockwise by 40 Nm one more time. Time to lock the balls together with the counter holding the camshafts. Same on bank 1/4. Time to fit the sensor gear. Fit the nut and initially tighten without play, but do not tighten down yet. Fit special tool into the gear hole and make it fast to the engine head. Torque down the nut. Same goes for the bank 5/8. Remove camshaft tools. Relieve the pressure. Mount and the oil lines. Clean just with the S-lid. Time for the upper timing chain covers. They do have rubber gaskets, that's why they should be replaced together with the head cover gasket, otherwise your engine will be very black, full of oil. Fit in the screws, but do not tighten them yet. According to the manual, you need to tighten the head cover using a special gasket tool, and only then you could tighten the timing cover bolts. This is needed to level two surfaces. I've tried to play around, but it sucked. So I've came up with my own special tool and created this pretension. Same on the other side. New O-ring, it fits the chain tensioner. Looks good. New tensioner with a new metal O-ring. Remove the crankshaft pin. Did few rotations. The right side VANOS unit was jumping back and forth a bit, but that's how it should be, right? Time for the VANOS solenoids. Tested them with 12 volts. At this point I already knew I f***ed up, and I needed a special size 32mm long socket for the solenoids. So I've quickly disassembled the covers and made fast the solenoids with the spanner. Applied some sealant to the corners and did the tightening procedure again. New solenoid gaskets. Loop them up with oil. Same story on the other side. New knock sensors. Originally there were Bosch as well. M60 ugly and oily insulation, unfortunately discontinued. We'll see whether this will be an upgrade or a downgrade. They could have replaced these insulation elements to a piece of plastic for a reason. Rear coolant pipe. New O-rings. Grease them with coolant. I've seen people adding sealant there. Maybe I should have done this as well. We'll see. Top insulation piece. New water pump by Saleri. This pump brand is currently installed in my car for 12 years and still no leaks. Impeller is German and seems that it could be INA inside. New double sleeves. Same sealing plan as usual. New bolts as per manual advice. New sensor. Time for the most important mod, the thermostat upgrade. E31 thermostat housing is different, but the thermostat is the same. Just transfer the thermostat from one housing to another. Fill the sensor area with sealant just in case it doesn't leak. Let's test it. Opens and closes like it should. Intake manifold thoroughly cleaned. As I've said, PCV system remains from the E53. Flange sealant for eliminating any leaks through the weld. New oil separator drain hoses. New O-ring. Oil separator holding bracket. oil separator with hoses. The E38 oil separator is behind the timing chain cover and is connected to the PCV valve using this tube. That's it for this time, and see you in the next and the last assembly episode. Cheers!